answer or it is finished?
Okay, so before we enter deeper into Manomaya Kosha, I have one question. What is fixed and what is variable in life? From the time a person is born till the time the person dies, what is fixed and what is variable?
Jiva is fixed. Body, gross body is variable, and then thoughts variable, actions variable.
Everything is variable except the consciousness.
That is the right answer.
Okay. Are you able to feel the consciousness?
I think we should answer with respect to your experience, right?
Yep.
What do you actually experience?
That was the question actually.
If I say I am conscious of my body, that is only up to body level consciousness. Is it right?
No, whatever you are experiencing as fixed.
Yeah, I am experiencing this world. I am experiencing my thought.
Okay. So what is fixed? Yeah, Padmashri, go ahead.
No, what I feel is that the very fact that we still get connected to all our past is because of the consciousness. If we had no, because every day we are changing, but still we feel we are the same. It is the same Padmashri who was born on such a date and so in such a year. It is the same Padmashri we are thinking, but the only fact that is same is consciousness. Even to hold all these things together, the consciousness is required.
No, that is correct.
And that is an experience. It is not. I'm not theorizing things, but if everything was changing, why should I even feel that I am the same person?
Okay.
It is because the link. It is because of the link, and then today, tomorrow, the very fact that though consciousness has got no time and space, the fact that we are understanding the time and space is only because of the consciousness.
Okay.
That is why people with all these problems, they have no time and space constraints at all. And to understand this and cut it off is what is the awareness that we have to undergo and realize that it is not the same. It is but even the fact that we are putting this journey throughout and then feeling that yesterday I did this, today I have to do this, tomorrow I have to do that. That planning, or that whole thing, that essence is coming, that link is coming from the consciousness. The energy is prana, and prana is also because of the consciousness. But not only the prana, it is the link that we are having to the time and space is because of the consciousness.
Okay. Yeah, Lata, you have anything to add?
So, what is it that is there with us from the time we were not born? I cannot say born, I don't know, but until the time you have that memory from childhood to now, is that sense of I. And I'm just telling my experience. So when I look at back, that is only one thing which is not changing at all. So that you feel that you are the same throughout. So that I sense is what I would say is unchanging. It is always there. You remember, see, when you are a child, when you are going to school, first standard, second standard, so that I sense is there throughout. That's the only thing which is unchanging in my experience.
Okay. Very nice. Good answers. But unfortunately, that's not the right answer. Okay, the only thing which is fixed is your name. That's all what is fixed.
I think I wanted to something on that. The name, as per me, is variable because in some systems, after marriage, they change their name. When you convert from one religion to another religion, you change your name.
But still there's the name.
Yeah, name is there. Nama is there. Rupa changes. You are right. Nama is there. That identification is there, right?
That is the nama. So you will identify. See, you will identify as an ABB employee, yes or no?
Yes.
So how did you?
Till I join, till I come out of that organization, I am that employee of that organization. That identification is there.
Yes.
Identity is there. Correct.
Yes, identity is there. And even
Can I say one more thing here? One more thing.
Yeah.
Thumb impression and that inside you have that impression, it will be same throughout the life, similar to Nama.
Yes. So now, what is variable?
Variable is this our hardware, our body. It goes through the transformation throughout every moment.
Okay, are you able to?
I think I have mentioned in the beginning.
Yes, you have mentioned it, but are you able to see that?
Yeah. I can see that only when I see my photo.
But
And also
otherwise,
my experience.
no, that is correct. Otherwise, we don't see it.
I don't see.
So name and form are fixed. They are fixed. Just like what Padma Shri informed, I was a child, have done this, or I am now so and so. It's fixed. It is etched in the mind. You can't remove it.
Correct.
So that is one thing which is fixed. So that is the reason it is called as Manomaya Kosha.
Manomaya Kosha.
Everything is Manomaya only. And in that Manomaya, you will identify yourself to be the father, to be the husband, to be the brother, to be the neighbor, to be whatever it is. But that identification is going to be there. And where is the brother? Can you show me the brother?
Brother is in my
Mind
in
only.
my
In your
mind
mind only. There is no
memory.
brother. There is no husband. There is no wife. There is
So all that is in the form of memory only, right?
no, not memory. It creates at that time based upon what is sensed.
See, now I just shift my thought from ABB old building to new building. If I have seen, I can visualize that.
Yes.
If I have not seen, I have another picture called building. That's it.
Yes.
So that happens when I recall the name. Okay, from where I recall that the picture what I have seen, from where I recall, from
No,
the
that-
last impression of what I had.
No, that
Correct.
we will address later. So this whole
Okay.
9 shlokas are on that. So first thing we need to understand is what is
Yeah.
fixed and what is variable.
Okay.
So the nama and rupa are fixed. You will keep on saying some name or the other. See,
Correct.
you see a banyan tree and call it as a banyan tree. You see a coconut tree and you say that this is a coconut tree. You then see your home and say this is my home, and you will say this is my ancestor home, and all it's just a home. But then you put those figurative speech in everything, and immediately mind creates that home or whatever. If you think about your daughter will come. If you think about a son, the son will come. It is just recalling. Now what is in the memory?
One minute. Here only one question. See, when I go to deep sleep, nothing, no dream, nothing. But in the dream comes I don't know what I'm going to dream in the night. The dream comes on its own.
Wait, but that is 170 and 171 verse. So let's not jump into that.
Is it? No, I have not read. I'm just asking.
No, I'm also holding my horses to first start with 167.
Okay.
But
Now, which one is you are going to? Which verse?
I'm going through 167 and going to go to 168.
Okay.
So you can open your book on 167.
I have made, long back I made notes, lot of notes around this sloka.
Okay.
I remember.
Okay.
When which year? I think, I don't know which year back. Yeah.
So the fixed.
2013.
Very nice. The fixed one is non-negotiable. The variable one is what we negotiate.
Fixed one?
You will.
Again?
It is non-negotiable.
Okay.
The variable one you negotiate.
Perfect.
So what is fixed? Your name. It is non-negotiable.
Correct.
So let's say you are married your wife and somebody comes and says that no, she is my wife. What do you do? What would be the answer? Forget your case. I'll take my own case. I don't want to put in embarrassment. So let's say somebody comes and says that, look, she's not your wife, she's my wife. What will I do?
Then you will refer with respect to Nama, that on this day I have married, so my wife.
Exactly. So now what it is that is non-negotiable, right?
It is not negotiable. Correct.
Yes. So what is then negotiable?
Here, this is not negotiable. That's it. This particular case, the whole thing is, question is around Nama Rupa. It's over there, discussion.
No, there is something negotiable also.
What is negotiable there?
Because if something is fixed, something should be variable. In everything it is there, like that.
See, only time wise you can say, from this day to this date. Future unknown.
No, it is not like that. Let's say somebody comes and says that she's my wife. That is non-negotiable, but interacting with him is negotiable, right?
Yes.
Feeding him with food is negotiable, right?
Correct.
Asking him to sit or stand or whatever is negotiable. So in everything there is something of negotiation and something non-negotiable. So this identification that I am this is what is called as mind. So Lata has been asking me for the last 2 days that I am in that I sense. So how should I go subtler than that? So I thought, let me help her. So the question you need to ask is, what is fixed and what is variable? You will find that your name and form is fixed. You will say, I was a child, because that is fixed with the name. Then you will say, I went to the school. That is again fixed. Then you will say that I was a teenager at this age and I was doing that and all that. That is fixed. Like that till today. But what has varied is like beach versus the waves. Beach is fixed. So if I go to Udupi and Marvante beach, that has been there from my childhood. That has not changed. The name has not changed. but the waves are not the same. Not even two waves are the same. Similarly, not even 2 moments the breath has been the same. That is completely variable. That is negotiable. You can do pranayama and extend the breath, but you can't do beyond that. That is negotiable. But this is fixed. You are fixed. It's your breath. That is fixed. Just like board saying that this is Mangalore or this is Bangalore or something like that. That's fixed. But what is in that city is completely variable. The Bangalore what you had seen but in 80s is not the Bangalore what you are seeing today. But still the mind says that is the same Bangalore.
Correct. The name is fixed. Things have changed. Yes.
Everything has changed, but the name is fixed. So if somebody asks you, from when are you staying in Bangalore? You will say from 80s or 90s or whatever that year is. So you are fixing it. So now my question is, second question to that. When you fix something, what happens?
When you fix something, what happens?
Yeah, this question is not only for but, this is question for other two also. So you can talk as well.
Fix what happens. The question is not understood.
No,
when
when you
fixed,
fix
what
something,
happens means it's fixed, right?
when you fix something, what happens? Let us say you take a plant and you fix it to the ground. Now what happens?
Plant fixed to the ground, on that it grows something. That is the base. Something happens around that. Not that will not change.
So what it is called as?
Grow is a vardhayate.
It is going to grow because of the mud, but just by
Yes.
putting it in the mud, what happens? What are you doing by putting that plant in the mud? You are fixing
That
it.
means I'm giving stability to that. Then root formation happens,
Yes.
and I'm absorbing something from there.
Okay, first thing what you said is correct. It is stability.
Ah,
So when you
Yes.
fix something, it makes things stable.
correct. Fixed is stable. That's another word equal.
Yeah. So then what happens? If there's something is stable, then what happens?
We are trying to build on the stability.
No, it makes things secure.
Correct.
So we are looking for stability and security in life. Your name
Stability and security.
Your name is secure and stable because it's not changing.
Correct.
Bank account is in your name, locker is in your name, house is in your name, wife is in your name, children are in your name.
Got it. It's a security. Correct. Life insurance policy means secured.
You're secure, and that's the reason they say, why don't you take a policy? Because now you feel secure,
Yes.
and when you feel secured, you're stable.
Yes.
Now, is that really true?
That is not true.
But still it says it is true.
But in our life, we always use the word there. Insurance policy from this date to that date, I am secured. The moment that is gone, it is gone.
No, it is gone, but then you're going to renew it. So again, you make it stable and secure.
Yes, correct. Every time I am trying to do stability and security.
So why do you have appraisal system in the organization? To make it secure and stable.
Yes.
So everything revolves under that only.
Correct.
So this is the third line.
All fights are happening for that only.
Yes.
Somebody wants their security and stability. Even Taliban today.
Yes. So the 167 verse, third line is that. Samgnya dibheda kalana kalito baliyam. So this faculty, Manomaya Kosha, is so powerful that it will erase out everything that is unstable.
What is the meaning of this? Samjnadi Veda
Samgnya means that which knows through naming and forming it. Samgnadi Bheda. So you know how to differentiate between names.
Okay.
And create a form.
Kalito. Okay.
And it is so powerful that it erases out the consciousness itself. So Jnana Indriya, that is 5 senses, along with the mind, cha manaha, cha manomaya syat. So when we say manomaya, it is the mind with senses. Koshaha mama aham iti vastu vikalpaha hetuhu. I and mine is coming from there. I am seeing, I am tasting, I am touching, I am smelling, I am thinking. Plus I am overall. And it creates names and forms. So everything that we have created, called as technology, called as this, called as university, called as mathematics, called as algebra, called as history, geography, countries, provinces, all that is Manomaya. So something is good and something is bad. That is all what we have in the mind. So that is fixed. Identity is fixed. Everything else is variable. So the more the variability, the lesser is the security. So we want to ensure that variability is reduced. So we call it as risk management. So that we also know what is variable. And hence becomes fixed. Now, in the manas, there is chitta. And chitta remembers everything. So if you want car, it will immediately bring into existence the car. So it will do what the mind says. Mind says, get me but. So immediately I look at my phone and I dial the number. So it does what mind wants, because there is already an identity. And in my thought, you are as per last time when we met. So that is registered. So that is stability. So when I meet again, I'm going to say, oh, how lean have you become, or how fat have you become, or whatever it is. And then immediately the mind will replace the previous object and keeps this object. In a fraction of a second, that is changed. So now again it becomes fixed. And the subtle I, which Lata was asking me, is in Vijnanamaya Kosha, and that gets reprinted in the mind. So the Ahankara will then say, it is I am. So then the thought becomes mine. I am thinking. It's my thought. Then I can do patenting of my thought, because it is my idea which has come. So all that is coming from Vijnanamaya Kosha to Manomaya Kosha, and Manomaya Kosha goes to Vijnanamaya Kosha, so it turns itself into a cycle. So the Manomaya Kosha is subtler than the other two. Now it has control over the Pranamaya Kosha and the Vijnanamaya Kosha. So it extends itself. So the Manomaya Kosha now controls the Prana. So whenever a bad news comes, immediately the Prana will shift. So the body will have tremors. Whenever good news comes, there would be shift in the Prana. Again there will be tremors in the body. So the stability and instability feeling is there in the mind. And the intellect, which is supposed to give direction, is pervaded by this Manomaya Kosha itself. So it will behave like what the mind says it to behave. And the Chittas also behave based upon what the mind wants. So its job is to go fetch, bring that to the mind. Any questions before I move to 168?
So Ahankara is in Manas.
Yes.
Manomaya Kosha.
Yes.
So the consciousness will touch the intellect, or the intellect will reflect the consciousness, and that produces the first awareness.
Yes, that I am.
And then from there, and then it gets into Manas, and then get associated with Ahankara, and then we say I am.
Yes.
And then only because of this I am, the thoughts come. If that's not there, then thoughts will not be there.
Yes, because you are not owning anything.
Okay.
The moment you fix, thoughts will come.
Yeah. So that's right. So the thought, there cannot be any thought which is not associated with I.
Yes, there can't be a single thought without I.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Padmashri, any question? Because I literally went against your answer.
Hello.
Yeah, Padmashri, go ahead.
Hello. Yeah. No, I don't have any questions, but for me the basic thing, this I, the thought which is associated, all thoughts are associated with I, but the moment you disassociate from that I, which is what we are trying to aim, then there will be no thoughts at all.
Yes, that's correct.
Meaning, I'm just only furthering what Lata said. Of course, it's not from experience, but because when you think about your thoughts, everything is associated with somewhere. Otherwise, you don't have any thoughts other than I, because you don't think about some flower which is growing somewhere. You only think about, even if you're thinking about flower, you think about your garden or your at home or somewhere. Anything is associated with you there.
Yes, so
But the moment it is there, moment that eye is removed, you don't know what to think of actually.
yes, there is
I'm
no,
just trying to.
correct. You're right. And that happens due to fixing something. You fix it. So the first fixing is the name, and that gets etched in the memory. So the every chitta will now have the memory of Padma Shri, because that is what the sound has come. So when the Nama Karana is done, Karana is the ear and Nama is the name. So when we say we are having a naming ceremony, so that means that the child is said the name in the ear. Through the ear, the mind registers that name. So once registered, there ends it. Nothing can be done. Unless the mind knows how to get rid of that name. Otherwise, it will create a form immediately based upon the name. So that we call it as personality. And a person.
There are some experiments I've been doing now. See, there are meetings which happen. You know the name. You know the name. And some of them don't even put the photos there. And we are not on a video call. I have no clue how they look. But then I don't even imagine any physical personality.
Fine.
But there is already a mental personality in the way to interact.
Correct, absolutely. So the still will be there.
So the personality is not only when you are seeing a person that you create that personality.
Correct.
It is
No, it is not.
Nama, which is
The Rupa is two Rupa. One is a mental Rupa and one is a physical Rupa. If you don't have
body Rupa.
If you don't have a physical Rupa, you will create a mental Rupa. Like I am going to create your mental Rupa because I have not seen you for more than a year plus now.
But you have some references to create. But what I'm saying is, I have no clue how they look because they don't even put their.
Yes. So what happens is,
I can't even make. I cannot know that. Okay, Padma Shri was like this, so now she might. If she says she has put on weight, she might be looking like this. No, it's not like that. It's just.
Correct.
Complete.
You're right. See, now even with that, Padma Shri, what happens is the way you are talking, that personality gets created in the mind.
Yes.
So if your voice is slightly harsh, the personality becomes harsh. If your voice is very soft, then the personality becomes
Absolutely. So, but if you're not interacting with a person, then you don't create anything.
Exactly. So whole idea is not to create any personality. So the objective here is not to create personality. But we create personality in the mind.
Yeah, it becomes kind of inevitable. It becomes.
Yes.
It is not inevitable in the sense that I'm saying it is a natural thing to happen. So you have to force it not to happen.
Yes, you have to be aware that then it will not happen.
Yeah.
By default setting.
The involuntary thought process is to create a personality.
Yes, it's going to create a personality. Yes. So based upon my decibel of voice, based upon my ability to explain certain aspect, three of you would have created a personality. Same thing with me, with three of you. Now, if I want to become spiritual, I shouldn't create a personality. So when we say judging someone, actually we are doing what is personality. So we should not judge anyone. If we were to say, that means you should not create any personality. Then there is no problem. Then there is no mind. But there is a problem. If you don't create a personality, then you're not fixing anything. Everything becomes variable now. And mind fears variable things. It wants to fix. So it fixes the personality. This person, I like it, or this personality, I like it, this personality, I don't like. So whatever Bhatt was talking about Belbin, that is same thing. You create a personality. So you try to know the personality, traits, and say that this person is of that personality, that person of this personality, with this personality, and that way of outlook will be this kind of person. So again creating a personality.
There's a whole business which is dependent on this.
Yes,
There are
exactly.
consultants who
Exactly.
whole business, and they create tools for this. They create a set of questions, and based on those questions, they create an algorithm and they
Yes.
judge you what you are. And
Yes. So that psychic game is, or psychology games is all about personality. So the more the personality we create, the more samsaric we are. Because it's getting fixed and fixed and fixed in your mind. That's very unfortunate. We are making mind stronger and stronger by the day, and then we want liberation from the mind. Not possible.
So in this exercise, we are always taking out unnecessary things from mind, including old memories.
Yes. Yes, correct.
And also we are not creating anything, accumulating any wealth because it is occupies our mind.
Yes.
But there will be a fear of how I will live my rest of my life in case something happens to me. For that you have to do it. Na? Otherwise you will have that worries.
That is,
in case something happens to me is again a thought.
Yes.
And that is because you have some reference that if something happens to me, my people will suffer. There is a reference. So it's all coming out of memories only. If you didn't know what will happen, or if you didn't know anything about all how people have suffered, or when some earning member dies, how people suffer, and if you didn't know any of these things, you have nothing to base it on, right? So you don't have the fear also. You don't have
That memory triggers for that future. That is right.
So when you are saying memory should be taken out, it is inclusive of all the memories that you need to take out.
yeah, it is
Then
not
it's equivalent to animal life.
No, it is not. But so then you have to go and question Shankaracharya. How can you write something which will take us to animal life?
Not that. See, no. This journey is a spiritual journey because you're tightening everything and you are very stable in that. The thing is, the memory should be used in a positive way for spiritual requirement. But memory cannot be erased.
It's not a question of erasing the memory, it is not connecting with the memory. Meaning if you say I have fear, that means it is connecting to a memory. I have fear about what will happen tomorrow, that means you are referencing somewhere something. If you didn't have a reference, it is not about you didn't have a reference, it is you connect to that reference. When you don't connect to that reference, you still can have memory, but you are not connecting to that memory.
That is correct. There should be a contact, but Padma Shri is right in what she has explained. So let's say there is a fear of what? Fear of failure.
Yes.
Now the question comes, who is failing? This is the question you need to ask. Who is failing?
And what is failing?
And when
Impression is created as a failure. It is an impression created as failure.
No.
First of all, what is failure? Meaning you not delivering something is failure. So if you're not delivering something,
An expected goal, if you don't achieve, it is called failure.
right? But then the point is, what is that achievement and not achievement? There is some reference, right? That is coming from somewhere.
From memory only.
Achievement
That's
and not
from memory.
that's from memory. So you connect to that. That is why you are depressed when you are having failure.
Correct.
Because there is always some.
No. What is the message? What is the message you are discussing here? That means you can have memory. Don't connect anything with the memory, right?
Yes.
Yes, meaning your thoughts, your present present should be only present. It should not get connected to any memory. Then your emotions are reduced. I'm again telling it to all here at Tinker because I have not mastered this art.
No. That is right. I'm just thinking application point of view. Now I am going to a meeting, stakeholder meeting. Okay, I am going to the preparation. That's memory. And okay, I don't have fear because if I don't have fear, I can recall as and when what I need there. Because as per the stakeholder in our transaction, I consider this transaction as also as spiritual. Okay, I have to do my kartavya there. When I do my kartavya, that person is asking some question, and I am responding to that question. That means I should have memory. But when he asks a question, immediately that question goes to my intellect. It is comparing this with respect to what I have the numbers or something information. Then I process. So I am processing through the memory. I have no emotions, but I am processing and presenting. That is okay?
No, so my viewpoint, when you say spiritual, we are explaining it in a very, very broad definition, saying that if we are doing our duty, it is spiritual. Yes, it is spiritual.
Yes.
But if we are talking about binding and non-binding, meaning I have not got to be bounded, then you cannot be living in a transaction world. If you have to spiritual, yes, then yes, memory is as long as, see, this is only a big difference between good and not bound. We are all in that good form, meaning we are all having that sat, we are doing the right things because we have entered into a transaction world. We are receiving a salary every month, so we have to be truthful, so we have to be truthful with what we are earning. All these are in the sat world. But if we are saying we are moving in the path of liberation, the moment you are transacting, you are bound. So when you are bound, you are having that feeling that you have to succeed because you are earning there. And how can you succeed? Succeed has a measure, and that measure is coming from memory. That measure is coming from a reference. So that is success for you. So when you don't succeed, all these things, that is the reason we have to be first unbound in order to move into the spiritual path. If we are bound and then say I am still spiritual, meaning I am still going in the path of liberation. We might be going in the path of liberation, but it is difficult to attain because it is very opposite of liberation. Meaning you are in a transaction world. You are bound by rules and regulations of that transaction world. Bound and liberation don't go together.
Yeah, that's opposite word. We are bound and there is no liberation. I agree.
There is no liberation.
But
that still is memory only, no? Because you are referencing it with a memory. You are looking at success. Maybe you're not going behind success. You are only controlling the emotions. But then, if Vivekachudamani, if we are looking at more next steps, it is more to be unbound from the transactional world.
Okay, let's talk about liberation only. No problem. Vivekachudamani, keeping that as a reference for studies.
No, I don't say that doing the right thing.
No, you're doing the right thing only. This is the right thing. I really love this particular argument. I want to put some thought process here.
No. I require Vilas to just...
No. Vilas will finally conclude. I will ask some questions because you have put very nice logic. Very good. Now, in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, he fought the war. He has done his kartavya there. And it is transaction again between Pandavas and Kauravas. And he entered, and Krishna entered. Krishna told him that you do this. And that is Dharma Yuddha. That is for liberation, finally, is my understanding. End of that, yes. That's all liberation
there is
for all.
a difference there. Yeah, there is a difference when we are comparing ourselves with Arjuna in our daily duties. I feel there is a subtle difference which we have to take. Krishna also in Bhagavad Gita, when he is teaching Arjuna, he is not telling you take over the kingdom because you have the rightful ownership of that kingdom and all. He doesn't say. Dharma Sthapana, you have to do the Dharma Sthapana because things are going very bad and all people are affected by it. This one should go on, and that is the reason you have to fight. He doesn't say you were not given 5 villages also. That is why you fight for your right. It is not about fighting for right. It was about Dharma Sthapana. And that was all the duty of Arjuna. It was not about getting back to it. Was only about Dharma Sthapana. So that is why he says you are born to do that Dharma Sthapana, you do that. And if you don't do that, you're not on the path of liberation at all.
Yeah, you have answered my question up to 80%.
Yeah, I don't know how to answer it fully because comparing it
Other 20% what I'm
our duty. No, comparing it with our duty, see, we are not doing any.
I wanted to compare because I wanted that answer. Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is all our activities are for self-kalyana only, not loka kalyana. See, so we are always comparing with Arjuna and then making it equal. First of all, that itself is not
That is Loka Kalyana, this is Self Kalyana.
Very nice, Padma Shri. I really.
One minute. See, now I consider Loka here is
But what's to say with that I don't have an answer at the end. No, I said don't have an answer to me.
No. That is not my intention. Sorry. My intention is not there. My intention is you have some knowledge. I want to understand so that whether I can use that in my day-to-day life. I am trying to use that. See, now that it's a Loka Kalyana of some part of Jambudvipa. But here, my Loka Kalyana, I am in ABB, for example. So my Loka Kalyana is ABB. If I do good,
Why are you in ABB? Why are you in ABB? Would you do this to ABB without getting any remuneration?
No, this is transaction.
Hello.
No, I'm thinking.
No. What I'm saying is,
Yeah.
see, when you're saying Kalyana of ABB, why are we in ABB?
Because there are set of people.
I also.
No, that's okay.
Why are we-
That's called a set of people together as employees.
No, fine. But why are we in ABB? You as a single person, why?
That is
or
for
any place?
for my salary and
This
experience.
is self-kalyana only. No, would we do this to ABB if we were not getting remunerated? Would you not spend more time on reading more things and being in the path of
Correct.
spirituality
Yeah.
if you are not
Correct.
being paid by ABB?
So, okay, your finally message what you are giving by comparing these two. If you are doing something for Loka Kalyana, that is spiritual path. If you do something transaction, that is for self.
I would say yes, and again there are still subtleties there. So everything when you're comparing with Arjuna and we are doing it as a duty, there is a subtle difference between those two, and what Krishna told Arjuna to do and not swerve away from duty. So that subtlety, if we are able to understand, there are a lot of subtleties is what I feel. I have understood only one.
No, I think very good. It's a Dharma Samsthapanartha. The best, fantastic thing. I fully agree with you. Because I was thinking that was transaction. See, with your talk, I got some more clarity of Bhagavad Gita today. There is no doubt in that.
Oh, no. I feel first of all, I feel honored and humbled. I don't know Bhagavad Gita so
No. See, no need to read Bhagavad Gita. The thing is, if you talk like this, it is a message. I have understood that message. I have full respect for that. Otherwise, I would have argued more. Because I have nothing to argue after I told it Dharma Samsthapanartha. Because I am not doing that. I mean, all these human beings. We do most of the things for our accumulation of wealth for security. It is not for Dharma. Dharma, we are using the word just for giving some donation to somebody, and we think it's Dharma, but we want our name to be there in the notice board.
Right. No,
That is
what
not
we
Dharma
are doing
again.
is
Yeah.
moral. Meaning what we are doing.
We are ethical and moral. We are within that. That is okay. Now I would like to hear from Vilas.
It is very nice discussion. I really enjoy. So I agree with Padma Shri. And when I quit the job, my intention was, even while I was in job, also, or rather when I quit the job, my intention was not to charge. So I generally ask that other person to decide what to pay, so that limited amount of bondage, or as far as possible bondage, is removed and it goes towards liberation. Meaning, my work shouldn't be dictated by the money I'm going to be getting or vitta I'm going to get. So that leads to liberation. I agree on another point of Padma Shri is that if you become 100% sattva, then you don't require to be working. You will not be able to really live in a transaction oriented world, including the family. That is not possible. So once you go very near to liberation, it will automatically pull you out from there. So you will not be able to live in this transaction world. Now she's also right in saying that why are we working? We are working because of our own kalyana and not about Loka Kalyana. So looking at the Loka Kalyana only, I don't take any assignments of nature where they can buy me out, because that shows that I'm having full of greed. So let's say that example of what I told you yesterday, if that offer I would have accepted, then I am cheating the company where I'm working, and I'm also not ethical in the way. And major thing, whether what ABB feels or what that person feels or whatever it is, that is immaterial. But then what it would show is that I have extreme greed. Because of the number, I would like to go ahead and then take that, so which is bondage. So bondage and liberation don't go together. So I'm binding myself in that. Why am I binding? Because it gives me security. Liberation really doesn't give any security. It throws you out of from security, because it shows you the reality. The reality is insecure and unstable. Only the consciousness is stable and secure. Everything else is insecure. And the mind creates security. So today I really appreciate Padma Shri for giving a nice discourse. It is right. We can't be comparing with Arjuna. No, you are right, Padma Shri. See, if you do something good, it has to be appreciated. So thing is, it need not be that you should have read a lot of things. If you really understand what it is, that is all what we need to have, and we need to implement that. So we cannot be comparing ourselves with Arjuna, because that doesn't make any sense at all. Because we are not doing any Loka Kalyana. We are only doing the Samsari Kalyana, which is myself and my family. And there is an interest in working because I want to utilize my talent. So that is again my Kalyana only. I have learned something and I want to distribute it, whether the company wants it or not. I want to do it. So, and the company pays me something, I take it and then I buy whatever is required, make myself comfortable. All of that is self Kalyana. It is not Loka Kalyana. So we cannot in any way compare with Arjuna at all. We are nowhere near to Arjuna. That is also right. So the first thing, if we at all we need to do is, even if you work, try to work without expectation and don't connect yourself, or in my case myself, with the money that is going to come. If I have that intention that I'm working in this company because they're going to pay me more, or I need to get more, or what I will do is I'll get an offer from some other company and then negotiate here, it shows that I'm in greed. So I'm in bondage basically. Even though I might know Bhagavad Gita, even though I might know Vivekachudamani or whatever it is, the deeper intention is that I want to exist. I want to make it stable and secure. So I want to make things fixed. So the name and form gets fixed. So the moment the name and form gets fixed, spirituality is out of the door. Even though I know Sanskrit and I can go deeper into the meaning and all of that, but in reality I have not at all established in any spiritual thing. So whether that offer was coming, or he just sent me information, or he wanted me to refer somebody, the intent with which I am having is more important. What is that feeling I got? The feeling said that, hey, you should have applied. You missed it. So then that's the problem. Because now I am no longer in the Loka Kalyana. I am in the most worst self Kalyana, because I've got a new job coming up. I want to do something here so that I can get relieved sooner or later. So I'll start to find mistakes and then I will say that I'm not interested. And if the company wants to let go of me, then they will find mistake. And that is how the transaction world is all about. Either I find mistake or they find mistake. That's how transaction is. because there is something to gain and something to lose. So for a spiritual aspirant, there is nothing to gain and nothing to lose. The first thing we need to drop out of bondage is the loss and gain. That means we are making our life more insecure and unstable, which is the reality. Then we can see what truly exists. As long as we are stable and secure in our name and form, it's not going to help at all. That's my say. Yeah, Padmashri, Bhatt and Lata, you want to say something? All are silent.
A good discourse from Padmashri.
Yeah, very nice.
Very, very good discussion. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's a learning for me, I'll tell you. I always used to think that myself with this kind of when I try to implement things, I always see that what that person has done. I was considering that and me same figure, maybe Arjuna and me, because I am also going through samsara problem. He was also going through samsara problem. But in this case, that is for dharma samstapana. They have done it. I am doing for my accumulation of my wealth.
But one thing which I want to see, when we are working, even though we are working for our own self and getting remunerated and so on, okay, we are in this situation. But then how do you deal with it? So what I was thinking is that whenever you are having an interaction with anybody, so the problem happens when your mind interferes and then put some additional dimensions into it based on the memory, and then you put it. But if you are able to make your mind whatever still, then consciousness really would know which chitta to bring it up, and then you would really act as is needed according to your sadharma.
Correct. And
So is that what I feel? So even in your right now, anyway, we are not in a position, we are not doing any loka kalyana or whatever, but we are in this situation. In this situation also, you can purify your mind in this way. So then your vasanas will not automatically get erased.
It will get reduced. It will not get erased completely. Only when you leave the transaction world, it will reduce. Because there are certain things we will have to do in a transaction world because we are getting the money. We have to do it because whether we like it or not, we have to see to it that there is a success. Meaning we have to think about the success of the project. If we do not think about the success of the project, then actually what we are thinking is we are pulling our mind away from vasana. But the point is, when we are getting money equivalent to that and we are not thinking about the success of the project, we are doing wrong with respect to that duty.
No, so you are assuming that if you don't bring your mind, the project will be failure.
No, I am not assuming anything. There are certain things which you have to see. I don't associate anything with memory. I don't have a reference of what is success of the project. So without that, if I am doing it, there is a good chance that we will win. There is a good chance that we will lose.
You know, I am okay.
Lose. See, best practices, lessons learned are also some things which are helping us in making the project correct. So if you are saying, I don't have anything of memory, I am just doing what I have to do. I'm not saying that is wrong. You are reducing all those kinds of things. You are reducing all the malice that would be coming along with it. But saying that continuing like this will also lead to liberation. It will lead because we are all in the steps. Meaning you are in the step of leading because you are cleaning the mind and the mind is in a purified form. You are reducing the vasanas to its bijas. So I fully agree with you. But finally you have to leave it to get it. There is no way that you are in a transactional world and then you get it.
Yeah, I'm not telling that, Padmashri. So right now we are in this situation. I am just talking how you walk the path. And then when a point comes, and naturally you drop it.
my discussion was not even to negate it or not say it yes or no. I was just saying that there are two ways of looking at it. Being in a transactional world, getting drawn by it, and not being able to completely concentrate. Instead, you leave the transactional world and doing it is one way. Another way is when you are thinking that meaning when you are able to, in the transactional world, you are able to control, and then at the end you want to drop the transaction. That is also fine, but I'm just telling you another way, meaning for people like me, it is very difficult to live in the transactional world and not be bound by the what we call the boundaries and the references of the transactional world.
Yeah, you're right.
I have to first get out of the transactional world to get myself unbound. But there is a possibility that you are unbound being in the transactional world, and at one point in time you are moving out of unbound by the rules and what you call the requirements of that transactional world, and then you can move from that, you can leave the transaction also. So there are two, I'm just saying there are two ways to do it. For a person like me, it is very difficult to stay in the transaction world and then say, it is difficult for me, meaning for me everything has a reference, everything has a memory, everything I have to refer to that, what is best practice. It is not about people, person and getting affected by people at all, meaning not emotions. I'm just saying there needs to be a reference, there needs to be, if I'm asked to do something, I have to do that thing, and then when I'm seeing something not happening, if I have to escalate it at the right time, I have to escalate it. Because everybody's work will be slightly different, and lucky are those whose work is in such a way that it is still being, if you are controlling the mind, you are able to not feel that okay, you need to escalate anything, you need to identify anything. Meaning, you don't need to what do you call success factors. You don't need to refer and give. The success factors are seen automatically. You don't need to give a presentation of the status to say that yes, these are all required. So you always have references, you are always having memories, you are always looking at reacting to the memories. So that is a natural part of the process when we are in a transactional world. For me, getting out of the natural part of the process is so difficult. I'm only be able to be objective, but I have not been able to get out of it. From moving from being subjective, I have moved to being objective, but it's so difficult for me to get out of it.
Good.
And there are activities where I do without any remuneration, and I feel so free there. Meaning, I don't refer to any success factor, any this one there. I simply keep doing my activity, but I am not able to do that with a remunerated activity. I do not know why. It is because I have created a reference in my mind, and it happens like that. It is very difficult for me to be unconnected with what I'm doing.
Good, very nice, Padmashri. So now between unbound and bound, you can still do that. One suggestion I could give is that don't set the number, then you are unbound. When you say remuneration, don't set the number in your mind. But still you can interact in the society.
No, I'm not associated with number. But for me, any remuneration, meaning if something is expected, see, there is a job profile, there is an expectation. So I always have a reference to that expectation, and then I want to be better than the expectation. I have a reference, I have a success factor, what is considered as success factors. I will have that reference. It's not about money, meaning it's not about the money which I have said, because I have never negotiated till today. I've never asked for more. I've never asked why less. Nothing I've done till in almost 30 years of experience. I've not a single time asked for raise, or why so less, or why so much more, or I should get more. I never thought about that. So for me, figure is not the word, but the fact that I am taking something, I have to give back something is so fixed in my mind. I am not able to get out.
So now you answered that question. What you are fixed, you make it as variable. It works.
Yes, that is the difficult part of it.
Okay, then you have to go out of samsara.
No, for me it is that is what
Yeah, for you only. I'm not talking about anybody else. For you, because your mind is fixed in that way. So unless you eject out of it, the mind will not give it up. Meaning it has etched so deeply in your mind.
Yeah.
Fine, very good.
I think we have crossed the
Yeah, we have crossed the time. So I don't have any meeting until 10, so I can go on.
No,
I have to join another meeting.
Okay,
Yeah.
then we'll meet tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye.